faith, firearms, and freedom. This is Armed Lutheran Radio.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Armed Lutheran Radio, a show about guns, hunting, competitive shooting, the natural right of self-defense, and what God's Word says about the issues surrounding gun rights and gun ownership. I'm your host, Lloyd Bailey, the Armed Lutheran, and this is episode number 377. Welcome to all of you, and thank you all for making Armed Lutheran Radio a part of your week again this week. For those of you who are new to the show, welcome aboard. Thank you. Hope you enjoy what you see. It's going to be a little different than our usual show because this week is our September online hangout for September 2023. For those of you who don't know, this is one of the things that we try to do every month, hanging out with the men and women who make this show possible, the members of the Reformation Gun Club. We do not have any sponsors. We do not have any advertising. And what that means is that we rely on the annual contributions, the membership dues from these good people and many more to help keep the lights on. If you would like to be a part of one of these future hangouts, if you would like to find out about all of the great benefits of being a member, if you would like to have that warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that you helped make all of this possible, then visit armedlutheran.us/gun club or reformationgunclub.com, or you can look for a link in the show notes for this or for any of our previous episodes, and check out all the benefits. Membership starts as little as $15.17 per year. Come and join us. We would love to have you visit with us and see your smiling face in a future hangout. So let's see here. Let's bring we've got 4 folks waiting to join. Here they come. Got Stuart and Scott. Donnie is with us again.
Oh, Scott, you're here.
And William's in the dark, here, driving again.
We're winning.
How is everybody?
Good. We're winning.
Who's winning?
I'm shooting.
My wife's in the other car, and we're ahead of her on the freeway. That's what he means by we're winning.
I see. Okay. Drive safely now. No street racing.
Well, I won't tell you the speed, but we're ahead.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, let's go around the horn and get caught up here. Stuart, how in the world are you, sir?
I've been shooting twice this month so far.
Ooh, awesome.
And I bought a 22 for plinking.
Okay. Which one?
So, a Browning.
Okay.
A Buckmaster.
Buckmaster.
It has a real magazine. It's not plastic like some of the others.
Right. Very similar to what is it? The Ruger Mark 3?
Four.
What are they up,
Four?
What are they up to now?
They're up to Mark
25.
5,
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I always heard those were really annoyingly difficult to take apart and clean. I've never had.
They are very profitable for gunsmiths.
I'm told those are the guns that make grown men cry.
Yes. The Mark 1, 2, and 3 anyways. The Mark 4, they fixed the problem and really pissed me off.
Got into the customer base.
Yes.
Scott, how are you? How's the
Scott?
Oop.
Is it snowing yet in Wyoming?
No, we won't get our first
September.
snow until Halloween.
No, that's the first one that's stuck. The first snow we ever got when I lived there was in September. Must be global warming.
probably.
If it doesn't stick, we don't count it.
They don't count it, right?
If it doesn't stick, it's just rain.
Well, it's sick. It's stuck, but anyway, whatever. Halloween, yes, that's true.
So
And then comes
go ahead.
no,
Don't you mean
nothing.
Reformation Day?
Yes, Reformation Day, All Hallows Eve, Reformation Day. Yes. So, Scott, how's the store? How are things with you in the wilds of Wyoming?
This store is slowly growing, but is doing well. Um, the past couple of weeks, I've entered with what's called the Impact 307 Startup Challenge. Um, it's a business growth group here in Wyoming, and what this challenge does is it basically offers grant money to small businesses or startups to either expand their work or to start their work. Um,
Okay,
I've I've made it through the first two trials, and I'm going on to the finale to the final five. So
awesome.
the payoff is that if I'm there, so there'll be three winners. If I'm one of them, I will get $5,000 cash and petition for a portion of $100,000 grant money to go towards expanding my business.
Nice,
Oh,
excellent.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if I get it, I'll be looking at a CNC machine.
Uh,
There you go.
uh,
A
Three
three
out of
axis or a two axis?
It'll probably start off with a three or four. Um, the one that I'm
Oh.
looking at can be expanded into a five.
all right. Very cool.
I'm
So
just looking at a small. I'm looking at like one of the Haas mini mills, just a small one to get me started.
you've got a 3 in 5 chance of being one of the winners. That's awesome.
Yes, yes. And
Excellent.
the funny thing is one of the judges is my former boss at Weatherby.
You got an inside track then. That's
Yeah,
Wait,
nice.
is that gonna help? Is that gonna help you or hurt you?
it's going to help. He left the company long before I did.
Gotcha. Okay. That's awesome.
And he's currently my customer as well.
And I'm sure the two losers will, if you end up being one of the winners, the two losers will be like, I can't believe it, the guy didn't recuse himself.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe you should stop talking at this point.
We'll just yeah, we'll we'll edit this part out for
Yeah.
posterity.
The difficult part of the whole process is explaining to people what a scout rifle is.
Right.
It's like, well, basically, if you take all the rules of what a rifle is supposed to be and throw them away,
The window.
you end up with a scout rifle.
It's supposed to be long. It's supposed to be accurate. It's supposed to be yeah.
Yes. Well, and that's funny because at my first experience with a scout rifle was being asked to build one. You know, I got a job at a gun shop down in Denver. I was pretty fresh out of gunsmithing school, and I was helping them. I was hired on at a point where they had a huge backlog, so I was trying to clear the backlog. And I pull a sales slip, and it simply said, "Build left-handed scout rifle."
And you're
And
like,
I'm
what?
like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What's a scout rifle?" And
Is
so
that
one of
like
the other gunsmiths,
for the Boy Scouts,
yeah.
little gun.
So one of the other gunsmiths says, "Well, go upstairs and talk to Rich, and he'll explain it to you." And so I go upstairs and I talk to the owner, and he starts explaining it to me. I'm like, "You're not supposed to do any of that according to what they taught us in school." He's like, "No, it'll be fine." So I built one, and I'm like, "This is really cool. Like, this is completely different than anything that I have seen." And that's when I fell in love with them.
That's cool. That is awesome. Well, good luck on that. We will all keep you in our prayers for that.
Yes, hey, the finale is going to be live streamed, and It's November 1st, and there's a People's Choice Award too that you can text a number to vote for your favorite.
Okay.
Even if you're not a 307 area code?
Doesn't matter what area code you're in.
Uh,
That's why it's live streamed. It's open to if you're not there, if you are there, if you're live streaming it, anybody that's watching.
Okay. We'll be spamming that number.
Yeah.
remind us next October. This
Yes.
is in November.
At
Well,
the
yeah.
at the October
That's
hangout.
your job. I'm
Yeah.
not going to remember.
Yeah. No, and I'll post it in the Facebook page and all that too. So Lloyd can
Perfect.
share it and all.
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. Donnie, how are you, sir?
Well, I just got home from work, but got new internet that should make it a little better. And on the Ruger Mark 1, 2, and 3, I've successfully learned how to do that. I've cleaned a few of them now. And in the Ford, it just took all of it out of it because you push a button in the back and the whole thing comes off. But my gun shooting I've done my the last 2 Saturdays I've worked at our gun club. You get a significant decrease in your yearly dues if you put in two sessions of an RSO. And I've done that now, so now I'm just getting in there, mainly play with my rifles, my loaders, and 2 rifles. I'm taking Montana with me this year. I go out last weekend, but that was it's archery season. And in Minnesota, if you're 60 or above, and I'm 9 years above that, you can use a crossbow. So that's that's kind of what I'm up to. Going to be headed down 3 weeks. We're headed down to Missouri because the Oak Ridge boys at Branson, and of course I'll see seminary and so
Well, say hello for
that's
us.
what's going on in my life, and yeah, I let him know what was going on, but Friday night's a busy night for him.
No worries. No worries. Tell him we said hello, and we'll hope to see him in a future hangout. All right, William
Yeah,
has
so just and for
Go ahead.
I was gonna say just if you didn't for you Fort Wayne plans the fans the president of Fort Wayne Seminary announced his retirement yesterday.
Okay. So wonder who's in line for his replacement. We'll find out soon enough. So, one quick thing.
Probably take about a year.
You might check your internet settings or maybe see if you have multiple things going on in the background because your audio is breaking up a bit. So do a little check on that just because I want to be sure that we can hear everything from you. And that was a little bit choppy. All right. William is no longer racing on the roads and is wandering about and had on safety glasses and who knows what all's going on now. You need safety glasses to break out the wraps. What is that? Okay. All right, yeah, I guess you do. Wraps. Barron Brewing Company, Mountain Home, Arkansas. Okay. Interesting. So, all right. So you've broken out the adult beverages already and given us an idea what you've got going on. What are you doing what have you been doing since last we saw you? You're muted, by the way. Doing some.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've been actually. Why don't you jump to someone else so I can turn my computer on, and then I'll have a little bit better connection.
Okay. We'll skip back around to Stuart and find out more about shooting. what did you said you've been to the range twice since we were together last, and you got a new 22.
Yeah, I joined the Escambia River Gun Club, and the RSO the day I went over there, you do everything online. I got him to go, hey, it's been a while since I've shot, and I haven't since I haven't shot since I had a stroke. I wanted somebody to go with me, so he went out there with me to make sure I was still just as bad a shot as I was before, uh, and had a good time. Shot my 9 millimeters. Finally shot the Kimber I had purchased. Not so happy. It's okay. I still like the HK better. Fits my hand.
Which
And then the
which
other time,
which Kimber? That new
uh,
Micro 9 thing that they
yeah,
okay.
I
What
can
is
go
that?
get it and show it to you.
Ooh.
But um, and then I went and stopped at a gun store and picked up the 22 just because shooting 9 is nice, but it gets expensive, and I don't have Scott's money, and so therefore I try to keep it cheaper. Yeah, I know I could buy a lot of rounds for buying a Brownie 9 millimeter, but or whatever.
Right.
Not my
Anyway.
fault that people pay me to shoot their guns.
Scott makes the rest of us regret our life choices.
It also
But
helps that every round I buy
oh,
is a tax deduction.
That's
good.
awesome.
Biden hasn't gotten rid of that yet.
It's my business. It's a business expense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's evil gun. Like that evil thing behind your head that's got to be out there
That's
killing
just a
people with
hunting
it.
rifle. They're not after those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. For now.
Yeah,
Once they
call me
ban
back.
whatever they want to ban, and then when the crime in Chicago doesn't stop, and then they'll
Yeah.
come after those next.
That just tells you those are the last ones they come after.
Yes. Exactly right.
There's some nuggets.
And looks like William is almost
Howdy.
okay. There he is.
Can you hear
William's
me?
getting some nuggets. I heard it.
So where do I start? So last time I told you I was looking for work, and I
Yep.
decided I am working part time. I'm still doing accounting online and doing that part time, but decided I was kind of tired of sitting around in front of a desk all the time. So now I'm actually going outside and getting some sun and getting some exercise in, and actually doing something useful with my body, which is kind of nice.
Okay.
So that's new. My daughter, my 10-year-old, actually made the logo.
It's
Pretty
a
close to
striking
accurate there.
likeness.
I think you need to change the name to the bearded window washer.
Well, so I heard you talking about business expenses.
Yeah.
I'm I stuck with the alliteration, but my tagline and my next round of business cards is going to have the kilted cleaner, and I'm going to be using that as an excuse to get more and more kilts. So
Careful.
yeah, yeah. Well, no, that's going to be my new my subtitle of kilted cleaner, and I'll be able to get more kilts that way. So I'm looking forward to
The
it.
kilted cleaner. Don't look up when I'm on the ladder.
That's right.
No, I charge more if you want to watch me.
That
So that's what's new for me. Aside from Stewart, before I lost my job, I actually picked up a 22 and I haven't shot it yet. So I got the Glock 44, which is the 22.
right.
And since I've been looking for work, we're actually thinking of my in-laws using our house as an Airbnb to supplement income as things get started.
Right.
And it's locked away at home, and I keep forgetting to get it when I stop by to clean up the house. So,
Yeah.
but I heard Stuart talking about that, and I was like, oh, I need to go pick it up.
Oh,
I need to
it's so cute.
go clean it off and go to the range and actually pop a few. Oh,
That's
how short of a
adorable.
barrel is that?
That is
It's just
like
a
it's
little guy.
two and a quarter inches or something.
You're a big guy. Yeah, no one's ever going to accuse Stewart of trying to compensate for something with a pistol like that.
I used to have a 41 Magnum. Does that count? Go the other way?
That one might get you some comments.
Yeah.
I talked to a guy. I finally sold. Remember we were talking the last get together. We were talking about the guy that tried to scam me on the magazines, right? I finally sold those to a guy in South Texas. Was on the phone with him, just working out the shipment details, and we got talking about guns, and he was talking about um, how he had run into a guy at his gun club who was trying to sell a 44 Magnum with a 2.5 inch barrel.
Ooh, I'll take it.
And he said, "Take my money now." He said, "I just wanted to have that because I knew it was going to be just a gigantic fireball the size of your head and tons of noise. And that's always fun." So he could not wait. He could not buy it fast enough.
Was it a Smith and Wesson or the Ruger?
I think he said it was the Ruger.
Okay.
And did he mess up when he was trying to shorten the barrel and he went too far?
No, that was. I think that's a standard model.
Yeah, so Smith and Wesson did it first. They made a 2.5 inch model, the 44, the 629, the 500, and the 460s, and they were part of like a survival kit pack. You got them in a Pelican case with like a rape whistle and a little, solar blanket, and this was your survival kit with your 44 Magnum
in case you're being raped out in the wilderness. Yes. Yeah.
In case you're Leonardo,
Ruger kind of followed suit and did the same sort of thing.
In case you're Leonardo DiCaprio and you got a bear behind you.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Like I don't know what it's like. I don't know what you're supposed to do during the rape. Either shoot the gun or blow the whistle.
I don't know which will be louder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't Charter Arms do one though? Didn't Charter have a 44 mag that was ridiculously tiny?
Yes, but they're always a failure. So.
Oh, I know, but yeah,
I
don't know what
like
the utility of one of those things would be. There was a guy that used to shoot 44 mag at IDPA matches around here that I used to go to, and you could hear him all over the range whenever he was shooting. You knew it was him because it was just so much louder than everything else.
He was probably shooting 44 specials though.
I don't know.
It was a 44 mag gun, but I bet you he was using specials. And in that gun, that's actually not a bad idea because one thing, you're definitely going to knock the plates over, and two, with the heavier gun and the 44 special, a light 44 special, like 190 grain, right? That's a pretty level shooter.
Yeah.
Charter Arms Bulldog.
Yes. Long ago, before I had sense, I had a Charter Arms Bulldog in 357.
My condolences.
Yes, that didn't last long in my collection. Someone was stupid enough to buy it from me.
I had in my shop, one of the Charter Arms, either the detective or undercover, one of the little snub nose 38s.
Right.
It made me mad and had to sit in a corner and think about what it did.
Yeah, those were just. It's amazing that company's still in business. They're just barely above the status of the Ring of Fire companies. I mean, it's just. Yeah. I guess because they make revolvers and they never kill anyone, like the Ravens and the Jennings and Jimenez and all of those.
Well, you almost just talked about the same company, 3 different names.
That's true. Didn't they change? There was this weird.
The Jimenez and then the what was that other one you mentioned? The
Raven.
The Raven, and
but they all start out as Davis, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's like it was the same company that kept getting sued and failing, so they just changed their name.
Is that why they called it the Ring of Fire?
Yeah.
So the first pistol I ever had was a 380 it was a Davis. I don't even know what the model name was, but my
It
brother gave
doesn't
it to
matter.
me, so I just paid for the transfer in California, and I didn't know how to take it apart, so I never cleaned it. And I was actually doing my duty and taking colleagues who had never held a gun before to the range, and we had some conversations in between audits, and they were trying to blame the gun, and I was like, really? Do you know the statistics on this? And we started talking numbers, and like, really, like, oh, they're not as bad as I thought. I'm like, no, no, I should take you shooting. And so after a few conversations like that, I convinced them to go to the range. And sure enough, as one of them was shooting this little 380, the slide snaps.
Oh my
It's just
gosh.
it was so dirty. It was not a good shooter anyway. But I
Let me
literally
introduce
shot.
you to shooting by handing you a craptastically bad gun that will
It was
blow
either
up in your
that or
hands.
my Glock 17 that was chopped to accept the Glock 26 mags, and those were my two pistols. And so I brought what I had.
I used to have one of those. That was
All
actually
right.
kind of fun.
It's great.
So we
I
know
love that thing.
William's first gun. What was everybody else's first gun? I'll save mine for last.
First gun of any kind or carry gun.
Any gun, any kind.
My first was a oh wait,
And you had to own it. It was your gun.
buy it that I bought for myself. Okay. Taurus PT 111.
Okay.
Smith and Wesson 9 millimeter, model 37. I think I can't remember 37.2 or 57. I can't remember anymore.
The 39
It was
series
back
or
in
the
Yeah.
yeah, it was back in 77.
I used to have one of those too.
Yeah.
But my favorite was the 41 Magnum.
Nice. How about you, Donnie? Oh no, we can't.
Savage 110, 270.
Savage 110, 270.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Uh
Mine mine was a Smith and Wesson 629-1, 44 Magnum,
your
6-inch barrel.
first was a oh
First
my
gun. I had
gosh.
just
Now,
turned 21 and I had
wow.
gotten my tax return. I was out looking for a 357 and fell into the 629.
Nice.
Interestingly enough, I don't know whether you ever heard my interview with Bob Vogel back on the other podcast, the Unload and Show Clear podcast. That's what he said. He got his first gun ever that he bought for himself was a 44 mag because of Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
Lucky. Punk. All right, so
Uh,
Scott, I'm not in any position right now to go and buy another gun, but I'm always thinking, just
Yeah.
because, as you would. So I don't yet have a revolver.
Oh,
What, and I carry
Oh, poor
with
baby.
regularity,
poor Finn.
almost every day, although under the kilt's a little harder than some other. Hey, that's fine. Um, what should I consider as something that can also be carried as a first revolver purchase?
so if it's going to be a primary carry, you should look at something like a 686 Smith and Wesson. So that's going to be your 6 or 7 shot 357 Magnum. That's going to be their L frame. So get one with the 2.5-inch or 3-inch barrel for a concealment gun. The 66 would be another good choice. It's a slightly smaller frame, but still a 6 shot. If you're going for ultimate conceal carry or backup, look at the Smith and Wesson J frames, particularly the 637 and the 642s.
Can
I
I
carry
get
I
any of
carry a
these?
642.
Looking at I've got the 686 and the 66 pulled up. Can I get those either from the factory or from an FFL already with either a shrouded hammer or a filed down hammer, something that like Masada you likes to describe something you can't just cock and have a hair trigger. Something
Mm-hmm.
that you know.
Something Bob just smoothed up with a trigger job on it. No, you're going to have to send it to me.
Okay, I can
Now,
send it
the
to you.
J frames you can get with a shrouded hammer.
Yeah.
They have 2 styles. The 642 has no access to the hammer at all, but the 639, I think it
39.
is, actually has a shroud on the hammer to where you can still cock it, but it's kind of shrouded so it doesn't snag on anything.
Yeah.
Wait, the 639, isn't that a semi?
No, it might not have the right number. It's
Maybe
sometimes it's hard to keep them straight.
Yeah, they also that's probably for me it's worse than the Glock numbers because at least with the Glock it's all looks the same. But yeah, the 639 is a semi-auto.
Okay,
Looks a little bit like a high power.
let me see here.
642. That's the ugly one.
Yeah, that's the one I carry. And it's
Now go to
amazing.
my website, vdcfirearms.com.
The firearms. Now, do you sell directly or do you only do work on other people's guns?
No, I sell directly.
Okay, so I can have you find something awesome for me and send it to local FFL.
Yep.
We'll have to talk in a few months.
Yeah. And Lloyd, since you got a J frame, you need to send that to me for a trigger job.
I do. Mine's a performance center. So
You still need to send it to
I
me
still
for
need to send it to
yeah.
you, though. It can be
because there's
improved.
nothing performance about their center.
Oh, really?
Especially right now, since the performance center is essentially shut down.
Oh.
Because they moved their factory and the old guys that knew how to actually do performance center stuff all retired.
Oh.
And they're having trouble training the new people how to do that.
Gotcha.
So right now, the performance center for Smith & Wesson is shut down.
So did the pandemic and those retirements, is that the sort of the problem at Smith? Is it because everywhere in the country seems like nobody wants to go back to work?
The
And
problem they're having is that so working on revolvers, by the way, that J frame I was telling you about was the 638.
This is the one he needs. It's nice color.
Oh, it's pretty. Okay. Still has that ugly thing, but completely shrouded.
The 630. So the problem with revolvers right now is that it's a dying art.
mm-hmm.
So many of the guys coming out of gunsmithing schools are all about the tactical Tupperware. They're all about the striker fire pistols, and they're all about the AR-15. So the guys that are like really into revolvers and willing to take their time to learn how those operate, because it's a much more complicated mechanism than your striker fire guns. Much more complicated.
Yep.
So the guys that gunsmiths that I consider would be better armorers than gunsmiths, there is a difference, are not good at doing trigger work for your revolvers. And then the guys like, the guys like myself that, the only reason I'm so good with the Smith & Wesson revolver is because I started working on it and was not afraid to screw it up. It's like, hey, we got a stack of parts here. Let's just start, polishing and filing and honing and all that stuff and see what we get. And it took, sure, I screwed up some parts because that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to see how far we could go to make it better and before it fails. Well, in order to find out how far you can go before it fails, you have to make it fail. So that's what me and one other gunsmith did, and that's why I can offer the trigger work that I can on a Smith & Wesson revolver.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I took a Grant Cunningham, what was it called? Threat centered revolver class a few years back, well, more than a few years, like 5 years back. And I was surprised at the number of people who came out, but all of them were shooting the little tiny J frame air weights.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised. I took it just because I wanted to take it. I didn't own a revolver at the time. I bought one just to take the class. And I bought a Ruger SP-101, which is a nice little gun, but not to carry as big as it is, it didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I gave the J frames. I was surprised. Grant was talking about how it's so much, you would be surprised because of the sort of the natural shapes, instead of everything being blocky, you've got that round cylinder and the butts tend to be rounder. So it actually conforms to your body better than you would expect. And I was surprised at just how comfortable it is. But everybody's teaching you got to carry as many rounds as possible and you got to have an automatic and blah, 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 blah.
which statistically speaking, most civilian shooting situations are resolved in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So it's like,
if you got 5, you're good.
Yeah, and the revolvers, especially the J frames, are getting a really big resurgence right now because people, even your smallest 9mm, your Glock 43s, it's still a heavy gun.
Mm-hmm.
You take a fully loaded Glock 43 and weigh it against a loaded Smith and Wesson J frame, the aluminum framed ones. It's a lighter gun.
It's 11 ounces.
Yeah, and it's easier to carry. It's easier to conceal.
Yep.
They really are. A lot of trainers and a lot of magazine guys are really doing a disservice to that revolver because it is such a value. Because, like, all of you think of your wives. Is your wife's going to want to carry a heavy gun in her purse? And it's going to be in her purse because you're not going to ask your wife to change her wardrobe just to conceal a gun. They're not going to do it. So it's going to be in their purse. They don't want a heavy gun in there, but a lightweight J frame is perfect.
Yeah.
Not to mention they get their hand on it and they can shoot through their purse with a revolver.
Right. And what I always found kind of ironic about the argument against revolvers for concealed carry was many of the same people who were saying, well, you're limited in the number of rounds, were also carrying. This was before the Wonder 9 thing. After this was before the P365.
Yeah.
Right. Where all of your semi-automatic micro 9s were 6 rounds.
Yeah.
But they were still arguing that you shouldn't be carrying a revolver because it has limited capacity, but they're carrying a Glock 43.
Yeah. It's like people poo-pooing a 1911. What only has 8 rounds? It's like, oh, what are you carrying? The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, which has 8 rounds.
8 rounds. Yeah. The capacity argument doesn't really hold water anymore.
Yeah.
Although now that we've got those super micro 9s that have where they've figured out the geometry of the magazines to be able to double stack, or 1.5 stack, whatever they call it, where they can get 10 or 12 rounds in a magazine without increasing the footprint, is really impressive. But the simplicity of a revolver and not having to worry about dropping it and it going off, or fumbling magazines, or
getting caught up in clothing and jamming,
And as much as I enjoy carrying my Glocks and the other things that I had for so long, there's a certain level of discomfort you simply have to put up with.
Yep.
And a lot of that discomfort can be mitigated. I'm not advocating that everyone go out tomorrow and switch to a 642 J frame, but don't poo-poo it just because of the capacity. I mean, everything in concealed carry is a trade-off, right? You're compromising somewhere. You're either compromising comfort or you're compromising capacity. The question is, are you going to carry the thing?
Yep.
Yeah. What's that old phrase that Clint Smith used to say? The gun's not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to, no, it's not supposed to be comfort. Yes, that's supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be comforting.
Comforting.
Yeah.
True.
Then get a Smith and Wesson 500. That's comforting.
That's comforting.
And a wheelbarrow to whirl it around in.
That's right.
One thing you got to remember about revolvers is that they measure the barrel from the cylinder, not where semi-automatics are measured from the
bolt face,
from the breech face.
Yeah. So you're getting true rifling, the distance of the rifling in a revolver. I've got a Ruger LCR. Why do I have a Ruger LCR in 38 plus P? Because when I was selling guns, I earned enough points to get it from Ruger. Is my audio better when I stop the video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is.
That's why I stopped the video. So
Yeah, I got my Smith and Wesson M&P 40 kind of the same way. I took the M&P armorer's course, and they had a program where they were calling it the on the hip program. So I got an M&P 40 for $200.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All I do, I chose the wrong field.
My Rugers I got for free because he'd sell so many guns when I was selling guns, and you'd earn points. And they did away with it since then, but I think I got
Yeah.
6 guns from them. Everything from a 260 Varminter to a SR-22.
Yeah, they switched over that kind of stuff. Now most manufacturers are doing like an industry discount where like if you work in a retail store or something like that, they give you a special discount.
Nice.
Yeah, we had those too.
And it's not too bad. Some of them, depending on the company, some of them they're slightly under dealer cost, some of them are slightly over dealer cost. So
That's how I got my Kimber, and that was when Kimber had their sales headquarters in Kalispell, Montana, which is my hometown. And but they moved everything to, I think it's Troy, Alabama now.
aren't the rifles still up there though?
No, no.
No, they
The
moved those.
rifles may still be in New York, but they're not. Montana was just sales and marketing.
I
Okay.
could have swore that their rifles were made in Montana for a while.
Not that I'm aware of.
Huh. Okay.
So since you brought that up, best deal or best gun that you ever either won a discount for or you won the gun outright. Anybody got a offering you want to share there?
I've always does it have to be for yourself or can it be for somebody else?
It could be for somebody else.
So I have helped two friends find desert eagles.
Do
And
tell.
so both of them were 44 magnums, and they one I got for I've worked out a deal for the guy, and it was I think the first one was like $560 for a 44 mag desert eagle, and the other one was like
Nice.
625. And those are probably some of the best value per deal that
Oh
I've
yeah.
gotten. Um,
Those run,
myself,
what do those normally run?
like $1,500.
$1,500, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
and they
wow.
were both through pawn shops, and I was doing work for the pawn shops, and they would always offer me deals on the guns if I wanted to buy guns. And it's like, so I had one friend that was looking for one of those, and I'm like, well, I'll keep my eye open. And sure enough, I fell into it. And then another guy said, well, can you find me that deal? I'm like, well, I can do my best. And sure enough, I found him a deal. So
Awesome.
for myself, I had a lady bring in another Smith and Wesson 629, and she was looking to sell it, and she found it in her basement. And I'm like, why can't I find stuff like that in my basement? She bought the house, and it was just the previous owner had left it there.
What was it?
A Smith and Wesson 629, the
A
44 Magnum.
629. Oh,
Yeah,
That's an
and
N
so
frame series, N like Nancy.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it was the 6-inch barreled one, and she wanted to sell it. Now this was early 2000s, so they haven't quite gotten ridiculously priced yet. Um, and I'm like, well, I can offer you like half of what the estimated value is. Probably worth about $600. I can give you $300 for it. And she said, done. And I said, okay, I got to run to the bank. I'll be right back. So that's probably the best deal I got for myself.
Nice.
And that one, there's pictures of that one on my website in the gallery area. It was one that I took the 6-inch barrel off, put a 4-inch barrel on it, put some nice Hogue rosewood grips on it, polished the flutes, and Matt B blasted the rest of the action, so it really popped.
Nice. How about you, Stuart? Ever have any luck winning guns or getting
No,
great deals?
no. I'm not very lucky. The only thing I ever won was a keg of beer once.
Well, that's not bad. It's not a
Yeah,
gun, but it's not bad as long as it was good beer.
I was probably I can't remember. It was I was at the University of Wyoming.
Donnie, how about you?
Well, I I got when I was working at Gander, I got a Ultra TLE from Kimber at 50% of what the sale was. It's still probably my very favorite handgun to shoot. Other than I do have a Ruger 8.5 inch Blackhawk and 45 Colt, which I do load for. I have personal bear management rounds for it, 260 grain. It's putting out energy kind of be between it's more than a 45, a 44 mag and less than a 454 Casull, but that's they are approved for the heavy rounds in that gun. And um, the way the grizzly bears in Montana and I'm sure Wyoming are expanding, I think there's been four of them this year that people have shot in self-defense, including one a couple of days ago.
Oh, wow. Is that a growing concern over in Wyoming, Scott? You're muted, by the way. Let's see if we can.
Scott, you're still muted.
Let's see if I can.
Apologies. There you
There
go.
we go.
Sorry.
We were trying to read lips, but I'm
Yeah.
terrible at it.
It is a growing concern. They've always been over in Yellowstone, but they have rapidly been starting to move eastward into the Blacktooth Mountains and throughout Wyoming. It's a growing population right now.
Hmm. All right. William, you're muted, so I will ask you to. There you go. How about you? Any luck ever winning guns or winning discounts on guns or raffles or anything?
No, closest thing I think was I won $50 from Glock at one of the GSSF matches, but and I got a plaque for getting first place in one of the indoor league. I think I was the only person in that category, so
You didn't have to tell anybody that.
All right, so there you are. That's the
Nice.
44
I'm
mag.
looking at it. That's gorgeous.
Is it inverted?
That is nice.
That's the
There's
one I
just
got off the lady.
there's
Ended up.
just something
What's
about revolvers too that they're just classy. They're
Yep.
What's the grip?
Those were Hogue Rosewood.
That's pretty.
that is nice.
Yeah.
Don't mind
Yeah.
me. I'm going to open up a Mountain Home Arkansas Stout that was brewed a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Nice.
My boys had here's one of them had a mountain bike race out there in Mountain Home, and they both started because we missed the previous race. They both started at the very end of their groups,
Right.
and they both ended up in 10th place. So you overcame what 17 people?
Yeah.
So he overcame 17 people.
I'm eighth grade level two.
Eighth grade level 2. So we did a higher bracket than his little brother. His little
Sweet.
brother was in the second group of his group, and he was in like 56th place, and he caught up with the first group and ended up in first place out in Mountain Home.
No,
So 10th place. I meant to say, sorry, I had one in it. 10th place.
Nice.
It was his was in like two waves, so he started at about the same spot as I did. But he was able to pass and surge ahead.
So while we were there, my wife and I went out and enjoyed some Raps Baron Brewing Company stuff, and I took this home.
Nice. That's cool.
You and I don't know what we were enjoying while we got some fun that.
Well, before we go around what everybody's drinking, we've gotten one entry. I'll tell my story in case you guys haven't heard it. Sergeant Bill and I went to a There used to be a match called the Badlands IDPA Championship in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And was it Broken Arrow or Broken Bow? Broken Arrow. And it was awful. Usually from one year to the next, it was just terrible. The last year that we went, they had 3 stages thrown out because they were illegal because they just didn't know the rules. And the area coordinator was actually shooting the match and was sitting. I remember seeing him sitting at a picnic table looking through the rule book and the match book at the same time, and just like with his head in his hands trying to figure out what in the world they had done and how this all got approved. But and of course the best stages that I shot that day were the 3 that they threw out. So Sergeant Bill, they had a standard stage. Every major match, depending on tier, usually tier 3 and up, they have to have a standard stage. And standards are, there's certain rules about what you do. It's generally draw, fire 3 shots at this, holster. You do these strings of fire, right, at different targets, just like a qualifier. And they had this stage. I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked. You moved from one box to another, and you fired at, I think it was a set of 3 paper targets, and you fired at those 3 targets from each box, and each box got gradually closer to the targets. But you couldn't leave the box to move to the next one until you'd shot a steel plate, and that plate had to fall. And if it didn't fall, you had to go back and shoot at it again until it did, and then you could move. And this was all done on the clock. And he got to the second box and fired, and they hadn't calibrated the steel. So he hit the thing and started out of the box. The steel didn't fall. He stepped back and fired at it again, and it started to fall, and he headed for the third box, and the steel didn't fall over. So he fired a shot at it from the third box, which was inside of 10 yards, which is a disqualification. So he got DQ'd and had to watch me shoot the rest of the day because he was my ride to the match. So he was so pissed, and I was so pissed off because they had thrown out all these stages, and it was just a mad disaster the whole day. And we got to the end of it. The other problem with these matches at Badlands was it took them forever to do the results. Unlike every other match in Oklahoma or Arkansas or Louisiana or Mississippi, they didn't use electronic scoring. They did it all by hand. And you'd sit for well over an hour to get the scores and the results at the end. And we were tired, we were pissed off, and we were like, let's go home. So we got on the interstate and headed back. And about the time we crossed the Texas border, crossed the Red River, and one of our buddies from our local club says, "Where are you guys? Why did you leave?" And we're like, we gave him the story, and he was like, "Lloyd won a gun. Must be present to collect."
Oh. You won a gun? Oh, I'm not.
So, turn around, didn't you?
No. They gave it somebody else. So the one gun that I won at a match, I was not there to collect. That's my luck.
I'm sorry, that's very disappointing, and I know this doesn't help you now, but something I always love to say. I heard it a long time ago. It's better to be pissed off than pissed on.
This is true.
Where'd you hear that?
Oh, sorry, my son's asking.
Better be patience. Patience. That I have that so well, not.
Well, I'm going to be raffling off a gun in January at our school's daddy-daughter dance. So
wow.
You guys can all come up for this and
sweet
put in for the raffle.
Heck yeah. What's on offer?
I'm not sure yet. It kind of depends on what'll be in stock, and has sat in my shop too long. So I got a few of them I'm looking at. I got a J-frame Smith and Wesson I'm looking at. I did a J-frame last year. I also have a Ruger American pistol 9mm that I
Get
might
rid of
do.
this.
Yeah,
So
give that one away.
Yeah. I don't like Ruger. I
Eh,
had a model, something rather.
it's funny. In that competition that I'm in for this funding, um, my Scout Scope mounts is one of the things I'm looking at producing, and they're some of the questions that have come up have been, it's like, okay, well, why would anybody buy your mount instead of just buying like a factory offering Scout rifles? And I'm like,
right.
well, there's only 3 companies that make a Scout rifle. They're higher priced, and gun owners are really brand loyal, like
Mm-hmm.
worse than Chevy and Ford guys. If you don't like Ruger, you're never going to touch a Ruger.
Yeah.
And it
19,
doesn't
the
have to be
1911 and the
all
Glock
Rugers. If you
thing.
don't
Yeah.
like one type of Ruger, you won't touch any other Ruger.
Yep. Yep. What are the Steyr is one of the two. What's the other one that?
So the 3 most common are the Steyr, the Ruger, gun sight scout rifle,
The gun sight. Yeah.
and then the Savage.
Oh, I forgot
Savage
about
110
Savage.
Scout. Now
Okay.
Mossberg makes one, but they seem to go in and out. Like they'll make it for a couple of years, and then it'll die off, and so they'll stop making it, and then they'll bring it back again, and then stop making it. But it's really just both the Savage and the Mossberg are just kind of an abortion scout. It's like, yeah, we put this on it and called it a scout, and they suck.
Took one of their standard guns and cut the barrel down.
Yeah, and put a forward mount on it, and that's it. It's like, and not to mention the Mossberg actions suck. They just suck. The Savage, I'm not. The Savage is well built, but I'm not a fan of modular bolts.
Mm.
And the Savages, it's like, people are all saying, well, the Savages are really accurate guns. It's like, well, yeah, when you build slop adjustments into your gun, it's easy to make it
slop adjustment
accurate.
Is that a technical term?
Their barrel nut is a slop adjustment. It's like it lets them thread all the barrels the same, and then just adjust how far you thread it in when they put the gun together for headspace.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Savage is another thing I don't want. I'm a snob.
No experience with them, so except passing by their booth at an NRA convention, that was about it.
Well, next month I come out with my scout mount for the Winchester 70 featherweights.
Okay.
So I got a lot of people that are excited about that.
Very cool. What are you drinking tonight, by the way? We got Williams.
I'm just drinking iced tea. I was kind of doing some research for all of this, and like, well, I'm just drinking my tea.
Sounds good. How about you, Stuart?
I made a old fashioned. Nice. I was gonna go out to the hot tub and finish it, but it's already finished.
Donnie, how about you?
I was drinking a Caesar made out of Mule Kick jalapeno whiskey from Glacier Distillery.
Ooh.
Wow.
Jalapeno. All right, that sounds interesting.
So does it bite going down?
It's a little hotter. Of course, I went to 2 of my doctors and they said, nothing hot, no alcohol.
So you decided to do both.
No carbonated beverages, including carbonated water, no caffeine. So that what that leads to is bread to eat and water to drink. And so I'm just doing it in moderation.
There you go. Okay. I started to say, I hope your doctor doesn't watch the show.
That's when you say to your doctor, it's like, well, what do you know? Have any of your patients got out of this life alive?
Yeah.
Well, I finally cracked open. I mean, this is my favorite. It's not exactly exciting. Pendleton, yeah. My favorite.
Really?
Yes.
It's Canadian whiskey masquerading as American whiskey.
I know, but it is my favorite, and this was a gift because I endured a weekend of god awful. I think I did two all nighters that weekend for an upgrade, and my project manager said, "What's your favorite alcohol? I'll send you a bottle for putting up with all of this." And sure enough, she
Well,
did.
why did you?
I thought she was joking, and I was like, "Well, uh, Pendleton's my favorite." And like 4 days later, this shows up on my doorstep. So I finally broke it
Next
open.
time, have a next time go for a single malt Scotch.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
If you're gonna get a free bottle of whiskey, get something good.
Now that I know she's gonna pony up for whatever I say, I will definitely raise the ante next time because that if I'd have known, I mean, this is good to me, but it's cheap. I mean, $26 a bottle, but it's I could have gone for the Angel's Envy or something that our good friend is always partaking of when he's here with us.
We're getting a brand new whiskey distillery right here in Sheridan.
Ooh,
Oh, nice.
Some the parents of one of our kids at our Lutheran school are going to open their own distillery.
excellent.
So I'm excited.
My kids need to have friends like that.
Yeah.
Move to Sheridan.
Become a Lutheran.
Yeah.
Wherever you find four Lutherans, you will always find a fifth.
Yeah, there's even a Lutheran-owned
saying.
distillery in southern Wyoming. Arcola, I think it's called. The guy who started that one is actually a LCMS Lutheran.
Okay.
You don't have to get rid of your Calvinist beard either.
The beard will fit in perfectly. He's still perusing the revolvers.
Hey, Scott, how long does it take for you to work on a revolver like a 357? To do,
How long does it
I was
take
looking
me
at
to
your
get it back
website.
to you, or how long does it take to actually do the work?
Well, I mean, you have to go through all this rigmarole that the imperial government has pushed upon us. You know, can't mail it. You got to go through one FFL to another FFL to get it to
No.
someone.
Where are you at? Where are you at?
I'm in the Free Republic of Florida.
Okay, so for a revolver, all I do is I send you a shipping label for FedEx, and you send it straight to me.
Oh, because I have a 357. It would be nice to get it,
Yeah, I got about a
upgraded. So
2 month
I don't have.
turnaround time right now.
Okay, so it doesn't. I don't have to go through FFL or anything.
Nope. No,
Oh.
an FFL has to send you. It varies for some states, but most of the good states, which is about I think 35 out of the 50 right now, the FFL has to, and this isn't state rules really. It's more of a FedEx imposed rule that the FFL holder has to send you a shipping label for you to send them the gun.
Okay.
Now,
So
sending it back to Stuart, you would have to send it to his FFL,
Nope,
right?
drop it right to his door. Signature required, but that's it.
Wow.
Because we're not changing ownership of the gun.
Wow. That's cool.
Sense.
So, what do you recommend? I'm looking there. There's the level 2 trigger and level 2 extreme. I mean, I'm not Wild Bill Hickok by any chance.
The level 2 extreme is been most popular with competition shooters because they hammer the heck out of their guns, or the guys that say, you know what, I want to make sure that this gun is never going to break again, and as long as I have it, my kids have it, my grandkids have it, my great grandkids have it. So that's the level 2 extreme is what goes for that. So the level 2 is like the ultimate performance package.
Okay. So maybe next month we can talk more.
Sure.
Or I can do it on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because might as well get it make it work better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if I had,
I take it
now that I know that, you may have lots of business coming your way. This is great.
Yeah, rifles are even easier. You know, I don't have to send you a label for rifles, and you can do that through the post office.
Ah,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't trust the post office.
They're
no,
great if you get the insurance. Any
Oh, okay.
insurance over $500, and they make sure it gets there perfectly.
they are not going to lose $500.
Yep.
That
All right.
fools.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I found your website interesting. I'm sure there's people around here too, but it's Florida. Florida
Well,
man.
if you want to see the actual work I do, you go to my YouTube channel, VDC Firearms, and I've got a 6 video series of my level 2 trigger job, and it's just riveting TV. Each
I'm sure
video
it
is
is.
30 to 40 minutes long, and it will keep you on the edge of your seat.
Just you sitting there polishing for
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Yep. But you know what? Those
I
videos get
watch
me
too
more
much
business
YouTube.
than any other advertising. Seriously, those videos have got
Really?
me. So people find those videos and they're like, that's the guy I want to send it to.
Yeah, they see you taking that much care with their gun, and they think,
Yep.
okay, yeah, I can trust that guy.
Yep.
Very cool. What's the average?
All right.
What's your average watch time on those videos? Do people actually sit through the whole thing, or do they get to a
You know,
point where
I'll
they're
have
like,
to look
"Yep,
at the metrics on that. I really, it's YouTube and I don't get paid for it. So I really don't even pay that close attention.
anything with guns, you're not going to get paid for"?
Yeah.
Well, that would be interesting to
So, but
know.
yeah, I'll check that and report back.
It might just be ASMR for people, and they're just like, "This is so awesome."
Yeah.
I'm sleeping.
Well, I wish there was a report I could get to see how many gunsmiths are watching it trying to steal my trigger work.
That would.
Firearms.
There it
I'm
is.
back with you with part 4 in our level 2 trigger and action job. Today we're going to be taking through some of the.
It looks old.
Yes, that's yeah, I probably should redo them. I'm going to be launching a Rumble channel, and I was thinking about redoing those videos for Rumble.
That way you can
Yeah, that'd
show
be
off the
good.
new
Rumble's
shop too,
better.
because those are in the
Yeah,
old shop, right?
if you follow the whole series, I go to between 3 different shops.
God.
It took me a while to finish the series. It's like I started the series
Does
with one
Rumble
gun and ended it on another gun, just because I got busy and I had to finish the one gun.
Right.
will Rumble pay you? Did you get
Rumble
money
will
for
pay me,
Rumble?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep, Rumble will pay
I
me.
mean,
They
YouTube
don't.
should, but they're communists.
Yep.
Yeah, their algorithm or whatever it is, their community standards won't allow you to make money off of gun
Yeah.
content. But Rumble, that's kind of their niche is
It's free
taking
speech. Yeah.
free speech, is trying to get people whose content is being sort of suppressed uh
Well,
on YouTube.
Yep.
you think Wilson Combat would go there then? I watched Wilson Combat
I
um,
know.
um, and Massa, you.
Well, you're
I
also
like
talking
watching
about
him
people and
because
companies that are making so much more money on their actual product that they really don't care if they're bringing in money from YouTube.
It's just advertising for them.
Yeah, it's just advertising
okay,
for them. So,
Yeah.
which is what
okay.
YouTube is for me, but it'd be nice if I could make some money off of everybody watching my stuff.
Yep. What is the? I
Well,
use it, but I don't really use it. There's another.
you don't get anything, do you?
No. Um,
He's not
what
big
is?
enough yet. We're working on it.
We're working on it, but I'm sure they would hear a few things said that triggered some people. If I got big enough to make any money,
Yeah.
there'd be no money.
Yeah.
What about Rumble? Have you thought about that?
I have. There is another service that I actually heard about on Forgotten Weapons, and I can't remember what it's called. And basically, all of my YouTube content gets automatically published over there. Can't remember the name of it.
Probably some Chinese run thing because they're stealing all of it.
It might be, but they don't. But they a lot of times, what Ian does with some of his, if he's doing something with an automatic rifle,
Yeah.
a machine gun or something, and they won't let him show that on at all, even it's just a demonstration and talking about how how it works and the engineering of it. They won't allow him to do that on YouTube. So he'll do short little videos on YouTube saying, go to this other channel so you can actually see this. So he's driving content away from YouTube to
Yeah.
this other place that allows him to actually show those things without
Yeah.
penalizing him. I can't remember the name of it.
It's surprising. Sometimes you ever Google search yourself. I've Google searched some of my stuff, and I've actually found like
scared to death
my
to do that.
YouTube videos have been published on some Russian YouTube variant,
the Russian
webpage.
version of YouTube.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, okay.
Comrade Tube.
Right.
Putin tube.
Putin tube.
Yeah.
That has a terrible connotation that we really don't.
Oh Lord, you went there.
Oh my gosh. That's awful. Sorry. Blame it on the
But yeah,
penalty.
it's just
Edit it
funny to
out,
see
right?
where some of my stuff ends up all over the world.
Yeah. Hey, before I draw names for a prize, and we get out of here, thoughts on the passing of Senator Dianne Feinstein?
Who?
Wait,
I
is that why I heard "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead" playing in the
Yeah.
background?
Yeah.
she was a leftist. Bye bye.
I
But
had
she was at least
news,
somewhat
but, I'm more
so
I
civilized.
I celebrate for freedom.
so her daughter had power of attorney, and since she's technically still in office, I think her daughter now votes for her.
I don't really understand how all that works. Yeah. I mean, she wasn't really
No.
participating, but she was participating. And she's a
Newsom
Democrat,
is
so
going to
even
appoint
though
a
she's
black
passed away,
lady.
she can still vote.
No, she can't.
Hey, Democrat Party.
I want to know how she was able to vote when her daughter had power of attorney.
The daughter didn't do it. Her staff did it for her.
Yeah. Like,
And
you're telling me she's not
say
competent
this, say
enough
that.
to run her whole life, but we're still going to let her vote in running the country.
I kind of feel like that's
work?
what's going on in the White House, though.
Yeah.
I really don't think he's sentient anymore. And I think
No.
the country's being run by his staff.
No, I think they have sticks with ice cream on them on one side of the stage and the other. And they're like,
that's
here,
why
come
he
this
goes,
way, come this way.
Oh, there's the ice cream. I'll go that way. Now, I'm not celebrating her death. I'm not wishing, I'm sorry that she's, for her family that she's passed, but I'm not mourning either.
Yep.
But we all know that because Gavin Newsom, the Ken doll that they've got as governor out there, is just going to appoint someone who's younger and
He already said
of the same mind. Has he said? Has he selected someone?
No, he said he's going to appoint a black lady.
Oh, okay.
And so it's going to be another Kamala Harris. Let's go with the lowest common denominator.
Right. It's all about the skin color and the lady.
Nothing about competence. I mean, what do you expect from Ken? Like you said, Ken doll.
Greasy Gavin.
Look at it this way. At least in the next election, there's an inkling of hope that they can get somebody else in.
That's only because Greasy Gavin thinks he's going to be president soon.
He's kind of waiting in the wings, thinking, "All right, well, if Biden does kick the bucket, I'm probably the guy they're going to turn to." Because I don't think the Democrat Party in a million
appointed something.
I don't think in a million years they're going to let Kamala take it.
Yeah, I honestly don't think Biden's going to be able to run. They are not going to let that happen because he is the most beatable. I don't care who runs against him. He's the most beatable president right now.
Well, we thought that the last time.
Yeah, but this whole year is going to be really interesting though because
this will get us demonetized.
Everybody's going to be watching this election like a hawk this time.
Yeah.
it's like any shenanigans that show up, and it's going to be hammered on so hard. So I'm
Sure.
not saying they're stupid enough to try and pull some of this stuff, but they'd be pretty stupid to try.
I think that's what but I do think that's what some of the trial balloon that were the with the COVID coming back stuff,
Yep.
right? The
Yep.
discussion of, we got another wave of COVID coming. We know we might need to bring the masks back.
Yep.
I
They're
think
testing
they
the
were
waters on that right now and
yes.
seeing
I
how
think
people are reacting, and everybody's like, nope.
yeah, that's
Have
not going to
have any of you guys been getting these calls from the CDC asking you to
get
it's
your booster.
like a poll questionnaire thing that they want to do. It's like we want I've gotten them 3 times,
Is it a
and
phone call?
I wasn't very nice to the person.
Oh, it is a phone call.
Yeah, it's an actual phone call with an actual person, and they want to get information about your vaccine status and stuff like
God,
that.
I feel sorry for the people they're putting up to those calls.
Yeah, because
I
I mean,
can't imagine.
None of your business.
yeah,
Yeah.
I pretty much I started off with saying it's like, oh, this is the CDC. It's like, yeah, I'm not interested in propagating your government lies, and then they try. Well, this is a very important questionnaire about your vaccine status. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a bunch of lies. It's all bullshit. Your vaccine is crap. I'm not interested. And it's like, so I'm not interested. The last time they called me at 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, you're calling me at 9 o'clock at night. It's like, well, when's a good time to call you back? And I'm like, never.
Never. How about
I haven't received that, but
Yeah.
I got the first two anthrax ones or whatever it was, Pfizer, and then I got a booster, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was really good about taking vaccines because I remember getting childhood diseases.
Yeah.
Any of you guys get the measles and the mumps and all those fun things?
We
Oh,
guys
yeah.
have
Vaccines are great for that. And this thing's not a vaccine. It
Yeah.
doesn't do a damn thing except maybe make it a little bit better. It's not
we've
so
got
bad
some
for
of
you.
our local
And I'm old.
doctors. We got some of our local doctors that are actually telling people do not get the COVID vaccine. They are not tested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
I ain't
don't
doing
do it. Just don't take the chance on it. There's no reason to.
And what they should have been doing from the start was telling people this will
The
definitely
truth.
get us demonetized, but not that we're monetized. This will get us I've already got one strike against me for talking about COVID, so let's go for two. So what they should have from the start, what they should have been
Been
doing
honest.
was been honest and told
Mhm.
people, all right, this is not going to prevent you from getting it. This is going to minimize the symptoms if you do and lessen your chance of death. And they need to be focusing that on people Stewart's age and not people William's age and
Well,
William's son's
Yes.
age.
the problem is you had a legitimate clip from Biden telling people they would not get ill if
Right.
they got the jab.
Yeah.
And it was a
They
bullshit.
lied. That's the problem.
That is the problem.
A week ago they did on Reason TV, the libertarian thing
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube. Suggest you look at it. It was about the Swedish response with Johan Norberg and how it was really good and how Sweden did things and not I mean Bernie Sanders loves Sweden because it's socialist, but it's not. But he doesn't like it because of nobody liked Sweden because of the COVID, the way they handle it, the way everybody should have handled it.
Mm-hmm.
Why we follow a communist Chinese model on this gets me. And that's Trump too, by the way. He did that too.
I totally blame Trump for leaving Fauci in charge of all this mess.
Yeah, and Fauci, who started it all. Yeah. Hey, YouTube, go pound sand.
Thank you, Stuart.
I know all these sugarcoat things, but I cannot. You don't lie to me. I don't trust anything the imperial government does now.
That's the thing. We've lost so much trust in our institutions now because of COVID. And
well, it's not just
that
It
was
started in the 70s. For those of you who don't remember, with the so-called
I was all
the
of
new
4.
ice
Give me a
age.
break.
It was the new ice age that was
right.
coming down. And let's start then. Eggs are bad for you, and this is good for you. This is bad for you. This is bad for you. This is good for you. And they've been
Red
doing
meat's going to
this.
kill
These
you.
so-called
Coffee's going to kill you.
yeah,
Acid
this
rain.
so-called expert
Yes.
acid rain. Well, acid rain was bad,
There was
but
no.
not in Wyoming.
There's no such thing as
But not
acid
in
rain. There was no
but
such
not
thing as
in
acid
Wyoming.
rain.
But not in Wyoming. No, but in
Not in
parts
Wyoming,
of
not
New
in
England.
California where they were trying to push it.
No,
It was just rain.
no. It was New England. It was New England. In New England where they had problems with, but it was a slight problem. It wasn't what they made a big deal about, and whatever. But Trump is not going to win because I listened to Andy McCarthy, and he talks about it, and he just said Trump can't win. He won't win. I know Andy McCarthy is very conservative, National Review, but I I don't want Trump to win. I don't want either. I want them both out of there. They're too old, both of them.
Yeah.
We'll
Like,
put in Scott Van Dorsten.
What is that T-shirt I saw the other day? Anybody under 80, 2024, right? I mean, could we please maybe have somebody who's not potentially going, got one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel? It would be nice. But
Yeah.
we've got this walking
or
corpse in the White
Will.i.am.
House. Yeah. And we got
Or Lloyd.
absolutely.
Definitely not me.
I don't know.
Because I've had a stroke.
I'd really
I've had
go
a
for a
stroke.
Trump Vivek ticket. I'd really go for a Trump Vivek ticket.
No.
Because setting Vivek up
Trump
to be the
needs to go
president
away.
after him, that would be awesome.
Trump just needs to go away.
My concern is that Trump is so polarizing at this point that
that's
that
what's
was
going
Andy
to make
McCarthy.
him win, though. That's what's going to make him win.
No, it's
because
not.
people are seeing what they're doing to him, and they're just like, we got to stop this. We got to put a stop to this.
But
it is interesting that the polls are swinging
the problem
his direction.
is if Trump doesn't win the next election, if Trump is not allowed to run and win the next election, then nothing's going to get fixed. So all of the tampering and the shenanigans,
if Trump didn't lose, he can't run.
Just stays right there where it's at.
Hey Scott, if Trump didn't lose the 2020, he can't run. Doesn't matter.
Well,
because he's president, right?
I don't know what
I don't know what
the answer is. I just I wish we could get a different slate of people. I wish we could just get rid of the Chris Christies and the Mike Pences and the Trumps and the Bidens and just maybe get some new blood in there. I would be even willing to entertain, yes, Kendall from California, just to have somebody different. I'm not saying I would vote for him, but what I'm saying is why is it that both parties seem intent on putting a guy in office who's probably going to die there if he wins? Right? I mean, Biden is probably not going to survive another term. He can barely walk and he can barely string together sentences and he can't remember anyone's names. He's a total embarrassment when he's in a foreign country because he can't remember where he is or who he's talking to. Trump just says the most outlandish, stupid things imaginable. And he's incredibly polarizing. Biden's just
an idiot.
An idiot, incompetent, corrupt, typical politician. Could we please get somebody different for a change? I mean, yes, I would never vote for Kendall, California Kendall. But even if he were to win, it's got to be better. I mean, right? I mean, surely someone who's sentient is better than what we're dealing with now.
Well, arguably sentient, but she's insane.
That's arguable. The sky is like full of air and it's blue.
You remember in the 90s when they were going after Dan Quayle all the time? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. I've been around way too long. I realize that.
I
And
remember the
and
potato.
yeah, I mean, he was not an idiot, and it's just because they were trying to make the whole thing look bad.
Yeah.
It's the media will never let anybody. I mean, and Romney's a bloody racist, didn't you know? And an evil, just like the guy behind you. Where's the? Oh no, that's never mind. That's Obi-Wan. Never mind. But I mean,
Who did you think that was?
I don't know. I need a drink, I guess. But the media has been against the right ever. It doesn't matter all the way back. I mean, they didn't like Nixon, and Nixon's did some screw ups, including recognizing China and
Let's not forget Watergate.
and wage and price controls. How Keynesian can you get?
Right.
So now I understand my parents better. It's all coming around, and it's the same stupid crap. I mean, let's go back to where it really started. Wilson and FDR, evil.
Well, I think the core problem is that we've got people who make a career out of being politicians. I mean, the guys.
That's the true solution: increasing turnover.
Yeah, the guy who's in office right now was in office when I was born. So, or 3 years after.
I was in high school.
What the heck? The guy has never done anything productive out in his life except draw a government check. So could we? I think we need to have. I don't know what we have to do to get term limits so we can actually get some turnover and actually get some decent people. And we need to.
It used to be Americans would vote, and but the Senate would keep people around a long time. Henry Clay, we're talking, back in the 1830s and stuff like that. The Great Compromiser.
Strom Thurmond. Oh my gosh, he was an emaciated corpse when he died.
So the senators, I think that needs to go back to the state legislators deciding who your senators are.
Yeah.
So the whole idea between the Senate and the House is the Senate was supposed to represent states in the government, and the House of Representatives were supposed to represent the people.
Yes.
But now the Senate.
How nice of you to understand the Constitution.
And they ignore you. So
he knows the Constitution better than the people who are in office.
Yeah, so you need to go back to the state electing the senators, because then it doesn't matter. You appoint them for a term, but if you don't want them to finish that term, the state just throws them out.
No, that's exactly.
No, we don't like you. Go away. You're up.
We need to get back to the Constitution.
Yeah.
Now, Kendall in California is talking about a constitutional convention on gun rights.
Well, see, there's the tricky thing that you can't just have a constitutional convention on one issue.
Right, exactly.
And he doesn't realize that he's on the losing end of that battle, because there are more pro-gun states than there are anti-gun states.
And I've actually seen articles suggesting that might be a dangerous idea because, like you said, it won't just be about gun rights.
Yeah.
And something else in the Constitution might get changed that the left isn't going to like.
We need to put some
term limits on
Second Amendment.
Term limits on all of them. Not just the president, but Senate, House, judges, all of them.
The only reason we got term limits on the presidency is because of FDR pushing and pushing and pushing. I mean, and then dies in office because he strokes out. And let's not take any pictures of him in a wheelchair. And so in the 50s, and I don't see it happening for the Congress
They're not going to vote to
and
kill
Senate.
their own gravy train.
Yeah.
It's going to take a change.
I
It's going to
don't
take
see that
something from the
happening.
American people changing it.
Yeah.
The American people can change it anytime they want to. All they have to do is get out there and vote, but nobody does. They don't think. I mean, Alan Simpson's 18 years was he in there? I can't remember anymore. And I remember Malcolm Wallop said he would go 3 times and then he would go and he'd bow out, and he did. Malcolm Wallop did. I don't know if were you in Wyoming then? And so
There was another guy who
that's what it takes.
Well, the problem is that yeah, the good ones will do that, but then the good ones are the ones you kind of want to keep too, like Trey Gowdy.
Yes.
I used to love the way he would harass the reporters or the people testifying.
Yeah, but
he would just
he
go
bowed
after
out,
them.
and that was good.
There was a black guy I can't remember his name. He used to play, he was a football star in college. I cannot think of his name. And he said, I'm only going to serve 2 terms and I'm done.
Yeah.
And he did. But then you get Dianne Feinstein, who hangs on until she is actually brain dead.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden's been in office since what, 72?
Brain dead for
74?
And he's always been on the wrong side of things.
He's been wrong about everything foreign policy wise since he was elected.
Yeah.
And if you want something funny, watch there's a video on YouTube, I think, or maybe it's, if any of you are Daily Wire subscribers, watch the video, the biography of Clarence Thomas, and the part where he talks about his interaction with Biden when Biden was on the Judiciary Committee during his nomination to the Supreme Court. That interaction between the two of them is absolute comedy gold, because it's obvious that Biden has no idea what he's talking about, but he's saying it with such confidence. Like he's trying to portray himself as this smart legal mind, but it's obvious that he's just full of crap. And
that hasn't changed over the years.
That has not changed. He's been full of crap from day one. But it's so funny watching that interaction between the two of them, because Clarence Thomas is trying his best to keep a straight face and to be serious in his answers, knowing that he has no idea what Biden is talking about, and Biden doesn't either. And he's trying to be respectful of these stupid questions. And it's just absolutely comedy gold. You've got to go to YouTube and look it up if there's got to be a video out there. If not, go watch that video or read the book, the biography of
my grandfather's son is a very good book. I finished it a few months ago.
Yeah, and the biography on Daily Wire is terrific.
No, wait a minute. I finished it before my mom died, so it's been almost a year. Great book.
Yeah,
you can get the audio book too. I do a lot of audiobooks, but when you're doing your gunsmithing, Scott, or washing windows,
yes,
audiobooks are great.
All right, so we got let's see, we got
2
everybody
hours
here. So pick a number.
Where's Don?
We're gonna go around. Donnie is decided. Donnie's with us. He's
right,
but his camera was causing a little bit of a disruption with the audio, and now that the camera's off, it is totally clear. So everybody pick a number. We're going to go around, pick a number between 1 and 100. I'm going to hit one of these random number generators, and I'm going to send out a free gift for one of you. Stuart, between 1 and 100.
13.
All right, Scott.
76.
Good choice. William.
72.
Oh my goodness. Donnie.
54.
54. It's a good number. My age.
Year I was born.
All right, so now you're going to make me do math. So the number is 38. So
Donnie, 54.
Donnie's our winner. Donnie is our
16.
winner. Yep. All right.
Okay.
Congratulations, my friend. I'll be sending you out a surprise.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to share with you two simple memes that I saw in the last week or so
We love memes.
that made me smile. They both had to do with I guess you'd call it identity politics, but self-identification.
Right.
One of them was I identify as a conspiracy theorist, and my pronouns are told, you, so. And the other one was I identify as a free American, and my pronouns are will not comply.
There you go. There you go. Which reminds me, where did I put that? Speaking of not complying, this is a shameless plug, if I can ever find it. Oh, make me open my. Come on now. You know who I am. Don't ask me for my password. Oh, you. Let's see. No. Okay. Of course not. Can't remember my password. So we're just going
Get
to
LastPass.
I know. Well, I have NordPass, and for some reason I made my password so dadgum hard to remember. Okay. So yes, my password for there we go. Here we go. So go check this out if you're for your non-compliance. Where did my share?
Are you going to put it in the chat?
I'm trying. It's being very annoying.
I thought I was closing the chat earlier, but apparently I was closing my Zoom, and that's why I dropped out.
What share? Come on now. Come on, Zoom, work with me. I pay you enough every year. You ought to work. Is that the one? Open shift. What? Yes. I want to share that with Zoom. I've always shared that with Zoom. What is it? Apple. Darn you. Okay, so Zoom won't do that without rebooting Zoom. Okay, never mind. So I will share a link then. How about that? And I'll let you all enjoy it. Where's my chat? Where is the chat?
I just chatted hello. Just hopefully it would pop something up. No.
I see it. I see that. I opened it up. I see it.
Ah, all right. There's the chat button. Hello. There he is.
That's me.
Okay, so there we go. So enjoy that as we head out into the great beyond.
Oh, that. Lloyd, I hate to say it.
I've heard it, and it was hilarious. But how about no?
Yes. How about no, darn it? How about no to all Biden's stupidity and the left?
I'll play it to my boys.
Oh, they'll enjoy that.
Well, they're not into hard rock so much, or heavy metal yet, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, they should be. By golly.
Oh no.
Guys,
I'm the wrong generation to be a metalhead.
Next hangout, Stuart's going to be, with the mullet and the headband.
Yeah, whatever.
Guys, I love you. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out again. It was it's always great to be with you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We will see you in October.
Yep. See ya. I will email you or something, Scott. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. God bless, guys.
For show notes, be sure to visit our website at www.armedlutheran.us. Check out the Facebook page, The Armed Lutheran, or join our Facebook group, Fans of Armed Lutheran Radio. If you like what you hear, please leave us a comment on our feedback page at armedlutheran.us/feedback or a review on iTunes and let us know what you think. Thank you for listening to Armed Lutheran Radio, a member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.